Welcome back to the plot, and today we're going to be planting some bare root fruit canes. Now when you order bare root fruit canes, they'll normally come in a bag like this, and what they've done is they've lifted them out of the ground, washed all the roots off. So essentially what you're left with is, when you get them out of the bag, is a set of plants with just the roots on them. Now when these arrive, they will keep for about 5 days to a week inside the bag. Just keep a check on them, make sure the roots are still moist. When you get them though, don't take them indoors and put them inside your house, because that will mean these have actually gone into a dormancy because of the cold. If you put them inside your house while you're waiting to plant them, they'll just think it's spring and they'll start to root again. So what you want to do is keep them as dormant as possible. So I've had these just in the shed down at the allotment. And as I say, it's time now for us to actually get these in. So first job for us to do is to actually get these soaking in a bucket of water, just to rehydrate some of the roots. And while we're doing that, we'll prepare the ground for the raspberries to actually go into. This is actually a raspberry all gold, which is a yellow sweet variety, and it's actually an autumn fruiting variety. Raspberries themselves are actually part of the rose family, so some of them do come with little thorns on them. So when you're picking out your raspberries, try and see if you can find. Most of them now have been bred so they're not they haven't got any thorns on them enough, or they're very small thorns, or they're thornless. Just helps with actually when you've harvested them, you will benefit from them. So without further ado, let's get these in some water, and then let's look at preparing the ground. So just gonna get them in there, get them in, make sure all the roots are in there, down, and we're just gonna leave those to soak, and soak them for about 45 minutes to an hour. That'll give us enough time to prepare the trench. So if you watched our previous videos, you'll see us putting these posts in and getting these wires in. We dug the trench out, but it's been so wet over the last few days that basically it's just filled with water. You can see down here, this clay is what is actually underneath. So before we can do anything, we need to drain out that water, and then I need to try and dig a little bit of that clay out to get the drainage better. When we actually put these in, what we're going to do is put them on a sort of bit of a ridge, so they're up higher than the paving stones. That will help with the drainage. So without further ado, I'm going to get on draining this out, digging out a bit more of that clay, and getting some nice compost in there so that we can actually get a reasonably good drainage. Now raspberries are quite thirsty type sort of plants. They do like a lot of water, especially in the summer when they're flowering and fruiting, but they ain't going to like this much water. So let's get this sorted out. Okay, so that took a bit of sorting out. So what we've done is I've just tried to dig out a bit more of the clay, improve the drainage. I put a little bit of coir down in the bottom to help soak some of the moisture up, and then we put some nice fresh compost and mixed in a little bit of fish blood and bone in with that. What we're trying to do here is, when we put these raspberry plants in, what we want them to do is, when they send out their sucker roots, we want them to follow the line of the nice compost. So this is like their gourmet dinner, and we don't want them to go into the peasant's buffet, which is all the clay stuff. And that way all the suckers will hopefully follow the line of the wires, and then they'll send up new shoots from there, rather than trying to dig in underneath the pathway we've got here. So without further ado, let's go and get one of the raspberry canes and talk about planting it in. So here we have one of the canes, and as you can see, it's got a good root system on it. And if you look at the cane, you'll see all the roots coming up to about here. So this is sort of the base root section. You can see sort of new shoots coming off of here. But this here is where the last root is. So we want to be burying it up to about that point in the soil. So what we'll do is we'll make a hole, and we'll get that firmed in. So we're going to put this one in the middle, and we've got 5 in total to put in here. So let's dig down into this soil. Okay, so nice deep trench there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to get that in there. Those are going to go along a bit further. And just get those nicely seated down in here so that we can see that the top layer, when we've wound it up, will come to just where the last root is. So I'm going to just get a bit of that and firm it in as we go along. I'm just going to wrap those roots around. That'll be fine because we've got other plants to put in as well. So just going to firm that down with hand, obviously making sure it's in line with the hole, and just firm that down. And that's the first one planted. As I say, what we will do is we'll give it a week or so, and as this is an autumn fruiting one, we'll then chop this right the way back down so that during the winter any wind on this doesn't disturb the roots. So let's, without further ado, let's get the other ones planted in. So I've just finished this off with bark mulch. That'll just help keep the moisture in during the summer. Certainly doesn't need to keep the moisture in right now. And also it'll keep the weeds down and everything else. Now, we need to tidy up these paths obviously, but we've still got another 2 sets of canes and some loganberries to put in. And we'll be transplanting some summer and some autumn fruiting raspberries from some that we've got back in our back garden down to here. So we'll be doing that over the next few days. And when we do that, we'll be talking about pruning of summer fruiting and autumn fruiting raspberries. So if you want to see that, hit the subscribe button, hit the like icon, the little bell, and then in our next video we'll be talking about pruning raspberries and how to do that depending on whether they're summer fruiting or autumn fruiting raspberries. We'll catch you then, but for now, it's a good job done.